here. What happens is when you flex it, this comes up here and makes contact. In other words, grab a leg here. And you'll see that her pelvic angle tilts in here. And when you do this here, it should trigger the sensor to say that she is a McRoberts. Now, sometimes, I will tell you, to be honest with you, sometimes the sensor doesn't trigger because with her big abdomen, the foam abdomen here, sometimes the device doesn't recognize this. Don't think that you need to put more weight on here because you can actually pop out her femur on here. You can crack it. If it doesn't resolve, you can always do manual release or resolve in the software, okay? But that's what's supposed to happen. When you do it like this, you should, in this point, have the sensor trigger, okay? Now, as far as suprapubic pressure is concerned, in this scenario, the baby comes out with it facing this way. So you're gonna try to push the shoulder or provide suprapubic pressure in that direction. This piece here, when it's in here like this hard bit over here, actually no, sorry. When it's in like this hard bit over here, you're gonna, as you push on this, so this is her pelvic inlet. This represents like just above that. Even though technically this is not the shoulder, this is what you're gonna push on to try to engage the sensor. The sensor sits right over here, this little black bump. So that's what the students are gonna have to do. It's hard to do. It's designed to be hard to do. When we were developing this, we literally had an obstetrician between her legs going through all these maneuvers. And he would say, no, it needs to be harder than that. And so they would make adjustments. So you have to push and kind of imagine you're putting pressure to get that shoulder into the inlet in here, okay? And then when you trigger this, it will say suprapubic pressure applied. When the baby's in here, I know you guys aren't gonna do this, but if you have the baby in here and you're gonna try to rotate the shoulders this way or this way, what you're really turning is the ring because it's locked in here. And so the ring has to turn about 45 degrees from where it starts to where it then releases the baby, as if you have pushed that shoulder underneath the inlet. That's what happens in it. The other thing is, if they're going to, if you ever have clinicians come here to do this for extracting the posterior arm, there is no sensor in the mannequin, there's no sensor in her. So as they come in here and they try to extract the arm here to narrow the distance in here, you click on the software, extract now, or in other words, they're doing that procedure. That is the one part for which there is no sensor. All the other ones have a sensor in here. For your purposes, they're either going to do McRoberts alone or suprapubic pressure plus McRoberts to do that, okay? And then, so that's how it should trigger the sensor. All right, having said all that, one last thing. Beneath here, this little bladder down here will inflate when it gets into shoulder dystocia to further to occlude the delivery in here. So it's all an added part to will really kind of prevent the baby from going through it all. So that's what happens internally in her. The loading is just like the normal delivery. So go ahead and continue with the loading just like you normally do.
I'll put that far in.
Very, very important to make sure that we don't lose this piece because that covers the battery casing. And we don't want cottonseed in there.
And also make sure you don't accidentally hit the butt.
Yeah.
Because there's an on-off button there.
So we're in home, right? Yeah.
This is.
Do you want gloves? Oh, and I need lotion on my hands anyway.
So, our question for you: Does shoulder dystocia mean that you just can't get the shoulders through? That the shoulder's dislocated? What does that
Shoulder
mean?
is impacted on mom's pubic bone.
Stuck.
Okay, so it's just
The baby's
stuck.
sideways
So
coming
she's-
out.
the baby's
shoulder
stuck.
is-
Okay.
And that putting her legs back, which is called McRoberts, just opens up the pelvis.
The
That's all
pelvis a
that
little
does.
bit.
The
That's
suprapubic pressure pushes the
Pushes.
shoulders hopefully under.
To the side.
Usually 90% of
doing that?
dystocias are resolved with those two things.
Are you doing that like then during the course of
When she's
contraction?
pushing.
Pushing
Yeah.
during the actual delivery.
And you typically, we have a footstool, so you're up higher to get more
Anybody else wanna load the baby?
Let Jill.
Nothing.
We're
Okay,
cotton
so
seed.
we would load it as if we were doing the regular delivery, right?
Yes.
Right, that we did before.
There's two bumps go to there, right? The
Yes,
bump,
Yeah.
they go to there.
that's right. It goes all the way to the edge, right? Yeah.
So Jill, before you push it all the way in there, first of all, make sure that the bladder is not inflated. Pull this
Oh.
up, yeah, okay, that's fine.
So we don't want the head to go in there.
Yeah, that's fine. So push it to about right here, and then tuck the feet in, and then push the whole thing into about right there. Okay.
This hand
And
supports.
you're holding support now with that. No, not right there. The lock. Okay. Now
It looks like it.
Yeah, it's it was working this morning, but I put everything. Okay, it looks like, did it grip? No, it didn't grip. This is where I need to take it apart again because.
She was awful.
It didn't seem like.
No,
it
what
did
happened
anything
was
wrong.
The hose on her back is getting kinked, and I can't do this one. It's not gonna grip. It's gonna give an error message on here. I know the problem. Oh, let's check one other thing here. I'm gonna move this down. Now here's another potential kink. You see how that's like that?
Okay.
This is what you want to make sure that. Now let's see if they'll do it. No, it's on the back. I know where the problem is. All right, it's not going to inflate, which means it's not going to run. I will fix that in a second.